Hello, hello, hello. This is Toju Awani Gold, and I'm here for normal creative conversations as you would always have. Today, I woke up with a little bother in my mind, and I thought it wise to share share some thoughts as it regards parenting, as it regards the challenges or the how prepared parents are to equip their children with the challenges of tomorrow. Why do I say this? I've often noticed, especially with the African community, that we emphasize so much on, I would say, our desire, our own desire over the child's desire. One would say, yeah, will a child be able to think for himself, or what's the story? But the truth is that, yes, every child who is born has something within. And oftentimes, parents don't even do what they can to harness the things that are embedded within those children. And in such, we find out that we have brought forth some kind of children who have no idea of what society really requires of them. I will give examples. I have often seen cases where a child is cajoled, or a child is convinced, or a child is forced, or a child is bullied into studying certain courses that might not be relevant to the child's tomorrow. And when these children eventually complete their study, they struggle. They struggle to blend into society, especially because that's not their calling. And my take is that parents ought to do what they can to nurture their children. I think that's the duty of man, that's the duty of parents, to help nurture the children they have brought into this world. Nurture them, guide them. Guide them from evil, guide them from wrong decisions. But be sensitive to know or to observe those things that God has placed within them. Because I believe that every man, every woman who is born has something in there. And like I said before, your duty as a parent is to find out critically, sensitively, and passionately what this child is called to be here on earth, what this child is supposed to study here on earth, what this child is supposed to become here on earth. So, failure to do all of this, failure to identify some of these things, will bring forth certain children who grow up into society and tend to struggle. They struggle because it's just like you say you bring a fish out of the water and you put the fish on land. That fish is definitely going to struggle because that's not his element. That's not his area or a place of bliss, a place of excellence. So my take is this. We have often seen children who are inclined to football, for instance. And because the parent is so afraid of what tomorrow holds, you find out that that child's football career, that child's football possibilities have been truncated because the child has not been able to prove to his parents or whoever it is that football is sustainable or that they can sustain their tomorrow with football. And then eventually the child now goes ahead to study maybe medicine or maybe physiology, psychology, or pharmacy, law, or whatever. And then you find out that later in life, especially maybe when the parents are no more or something happens, that child is not happy. That child is not even practicing that thing that he or she has gone to learn. Or even if they are practicing, they are not happy. A lot of children are going through psychological traumas. They still don't know what's going on with them. And in some cases, you find out that some children, they go on to study those courses, but they pull out halfway. They say, oh, no, I couldn't cope with it. Because the original calling was probably football. I was talking to a parent sometime and he was saying to me that, oh, just in case it doesn't work, just in case the football doesn't work, that's why the child had to go study something. And I'm thinking, have you made plans just in case the same course he or she has gone to study doesn't work? What is your plan? Because oftentimes we say just in case, that's the football might not be that sustainable, or art might not be sustainable. Being an artist might not be sustainable. So it's better you do something just to keep you afloat. And I'm thinking to myself, how about when medicine doesn't work? Because I have seen medical doctors who are not successful. I've seen medical doctors who are struggling. They're struggling because it's not their practice, it's not part of them. And then they go into depression. They go into certain things that are unspeakable by society. And who is to blame for that? Who is to blame for that child's, or that used to be child who is now an adult, who has now failed in his or her endeavor? Society is now calling that person failed. But the truth is that it is the parent who has failed. My take here is that parents should do what they can and all they can to study their children, study and nurture them in areas that have them embedded in. Areas where they I don't need to struggle, because gone are the days when people have to do courses or have to study or even work in places where they're not happy. The earlier we look into this, the better it will become for us and even for the children that we have. Remember, it is your duty as a parent to find out what your child is supposed to be and how he's supposed to attain that thing. And God is going to ask you as a parent, because that's your sole duty. I've also noticed that a lot of parents, rather than being parents, they are walking around, moving from job to job, having to work 5 jobs, 6 jobs, and they think that bringing money into the house is going to help build the parenting job. No. So many children today are being trained by their minders. So many children today are being trained by strangers who have no idea of what parenting should be. But because the parents, the mother, the father, have all swung into action, thinking that, oh, money is the only reason why you need to be there. Oh, I need to make money so that I can look after this child. Blah. My dear, it's a lie. It's a big, big lie. It doesn't cost much to train a child. It doesn't. You are all liars. You've always been lying to yourselves. Some of the times, you find out that these children do not mean anything when you are present. Most of the time, you use all of these material things. So, putting them in the best school. What is the best school? The best school is the school where you transfer adequate knowledge to your children. That's the best school. Not paying exorbitant prices for schools. That's not the best school. Because if you are opportune to sit in some of the schools or be a member of such schools, you would not even enroll yourself in those schools. Those so-called expensive, or why do we go after money? Why has money come to take root over our thinking? You put a child in an expensive, maybe secondary school or maybe even a university, and you think that that's going to form the child's orientation or child's tomorrow? No, not in all cases. They say charity begins at home. All that your child should come from home. And that also comes from a place where the parent also should be equipped enough. You should equip yourself with the right knowledge of parenting, with the right knowledge of what the child needs to know, what the child needs to learn from home. Because the child is supposed to be an ambassador of your home, of you. So if you have nothing, if you have put nothing in that child, obviously that child is going to be portraying whatever it is that person who trained him has put in. So rather than chasing money, chasing all those things that the child has not even asked you for, parenting is cheap, my dear. Parenting is affordable if you prioritize. Prioritize in the sense that make sure you are available for your child. Nobody can parent your child better than you. Nobody can train your child better than you. You spend all the hours you have, all the hours that you're supposed to invest in your child to create bonding with your child. You spend that giving that time to another employer. I'm not against those who work. No, for real, I'm not. But what is your primary duty? You want to work so that you can afford that private school. What if you put that child in the very next door state school that you can afford? And you are there. That doesn't require that you pay. And then you put in the effort to be your child's teacher. Or you can't even afford, maybe you're not as smart to be able to teach your child. But you can guide your child to know where and how or what it is that he or she is struggling with. Observe their notes. And if you have found out that he or she is struggling with a thing, why don't you just get a lesson teacher from around the corner? Get a lesson teacher who can tutor your child, who can help your child, guide your child, irrespective of where the child's school is. We have all been deceived by these private schools that have erupted from nowhere, giving you the impression that are they going to slit your child's head and instill books in there? No. You need to love your child. You find out that there are some children, once you are able to give them the love that they require, they will need nothing else. They will need no books extra, no toys extra. They just love you, that you are there to hug them, to kiss them, to show them that what they are is enough. Rather than allowing those schools put whatever it is they think is right into your child. No two children are the same. Even if you have a family and you have 6 children, you have 4 children, you have 2 children, 2 of them can never be the same. But when you throw them into schools, they just go there, and then the teacher or whoever is teaching them with whatever she thinks. But that child might just be a unique one. And he or she just needs your love, your attention to bring them to that place of proper thinking. I know I have said a few things. I have pushed some tables around. I have been able to, but the truth remains. Parents, have time for your children. Rededicate time for your children. Come back home. Give your children the love they require. That's all they need, not luxury. not luxury, my dear, not luxury. And as you do this, you will begin to see something positive in those children. And I say, God bless you for looking after those children that God has given you. And posterity will be kind to you in due time. Thank you. Thank you and thank you.